for coming. My name is Norma. Many of you may have gotten a couple of annoying emails from me to update the time and the place. And I want you to know that you're here in really good company. As of yesterday, there were well over 900 of these rallies scheduled all over the country. And I just want to tell you that you are also not alone. You're not coming to a rally where some one person says, let's have a rally. I'm just going to give you a quick idea of the organizations that are sponsoring these national rallies. We have Public Citizen, Indivisible, Common Cause, The Arena, Stand Up America, MoveOn.org, People for the American Way, Pantsuit Nation, March for Truth, Daily Cause, let's see, a lot more. Democracy for America. I have 2 more pages of these. I want you all to know Women's March. Progressive Democrats of America, Friends of the Earth, Bend the Arc, Need to Impeach. That's a good one. Color of Change. I can't read some of them. Sierra Club, Tax March, Ultraviolet, Greenpeace, SEIU. All right, and there's some more, but I can't read all of them. Okay, so you're here in good company. I am just floored that there is such a huge crowd here. I want to remind you that when you signed up to attend this event, you agreed to engage in nonviolent, peaceful action, to act lawfully, and to strive to de-escalate any potential confrontations with those who may disagree with our values. But of course, who would? So I do want to start with something. While this is a really serious event, and we're laughing and we're kind of having fun, but it's unbelievably serious, and I know that you all feel that. I just wanted us to take a moment to remember those who were lost just last night through gun violence in Thousand Oaks, California, and all those who were lost recently in similar terrible incidents. I fear that the current political climate is encouraging or enabling those consumed with hatred to act out on their feelings. So let's all be kind and compassionate to people who need our support, and hope that we may stem this rising tide of gun violence through caring and through gun safety laws. Okay, so I want to explain why this suddenly became the Rapid Response Rally today. And I have some interesting notes that came from the conference call last night. And I want to make sure we had a law professor on the line who was explaining to us why what happened is so critical to Meuller being able to do his investigation. So, first of all, I think you're aware that Donald Trump has installed a crony to oversee the special counsel Trump-Russia investigation. And that was what crossed the red line to set off these rallies. By replacing Rod Rosenstein with Matt Whitaker as the special counsel, Whitaker has publicly outlined strategies to stifle the investigation and cannot be allowed to remain in charge of it. The Nobody is Above the Law network demands that Whitaker immediately commit to not to assume supervision of the investigation. I believe he has. And he's taken over from Rosenstein. Our hundreds of response events are being launched to demonstrate the public demand, like yours, for action to correct this injustice. Now, the primary issue is that Meuller must give Whitaker notice and approval of any significant moves he makes, like an indictment. And then Whitaker can block Meuller from going forward. Whitaker is on record as opposed to the entire investigation and can tell Trump about things that are going on in the investigation. Mueller is working under an order from Rosenstein that Whitaker could revise without us ever knowing he did it. And the reports could be handed to Whitaker without anyone ever seeing them. Is that enough for you to be concerned? Yes. I think so. So we're here to speak up. Okay, so some talking points. Obviously, from your signs, you know, no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. To get the truth, an independent investigation must continue. These are just your basic talking points. Enough is enough. It's time for Congress to put country over party and hold President Trump accountable. When a foreign government interferes in our elections, it weakens our democracy. For the sake of democracy, Congress must act. Okay, so there are some additional talking points about Kavanaugh, because some of this might end up at the Supreme Court, but I suspect all of you know where we're going with that. So I guess I would ask if there's anyone here who would like to say something about either why you're here or whether you have any ideas of how we can affect change. I mean, I have a couple things written down. For instance, that you keep in contact, frequent contact, with your congressional delegation. Also, I would strongly recommend that you write lots of letters to the editor and to multiple media, print media, online media, and social media. Speak out and keep speaking out. And I would like to invite anyone else. Is there anyone who'd like to come up and say something? I got someone. Okay. Tell us your name and where you're from.
Hi, everybody. I'm Diana Zimmerman Porter. I live right here in Framingham, and I wanted to talk about why I'm here today and why I think many of you are here today. I'm here because I love America. I believe in the values that our country was founded on. I believe in a representative democracy, and I do not believe that the current administration is representative of America anymore.
Never was.
They didn't hear us in 2016. And that is what this investigation is about. And if they're not going to listen to our votes, they're going to listen to our protests. They're going to listen to us when we get together and we raise our voices like we are doing here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone else who wants to speak?
My name is Dan Combs. I live in Framingham also, and a lot of you may be aware of Kellyanne Conway, terrible speaker for our president as a mouthpiece. Her husband, though, George Conway, is a great lawyer professor, and he has written a New York Times article pointing out how this appointment is unconstitutional. Anything that he does while in that position is unconstitutional and cannot be enforced. That position needs to be appointed by the Senate. So reach out to your senators and anyone you think in the House that has a sway, even if it's in another state, and tell them to remove Matt Whitaker from this position and that he is not allowed to enforce anything that he tries to interrogate Mr. Meuller. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody over there?
Jack Lewis.
I can't see in that direction. Is there someone else who'd like to speak? Here we go.
I'm David Brooks. I live in Upton. Despite the accent, I'm a US citizen. On election day in 2016, when it became clear what was happening, our son, who was then not a citizen, turned to us and said, I have 3 young daughters, what am I going to tell them? Well, what he can tell them is the next day he filed for citizenship, and it took until October last year for him to finally become naturalized. He voted the following week into Connecticut. So here's the point of the story. It took 11 months. The reason it takes 11 months to become a citizen is there are millions of other people becoming citizens too, all in reaction to the same event. So don't despair. In his court, in the courtroom where he took the oath, he looked around at everybody with names that the clerk of the court couldn't pronounce. My wife was there, I wasn't, and said, this is Trump's worst nightmare, and it is. There's a whole new wave of people who have been so revolted by this. They may have been living in the country in green cards as we had until 2007 for years, and this is enough to say, we've had enough, we're going to vote. There's a new wave coming of voters. Don't despair. These times will change.
Okay. We have a couple more speakers, and then we even have some elected officials.
Hi friends, my name is Summer Shawd. I live here in Framingham. I just wanted to say really briefly thank you to each and every one of you for coming out, because I don't know about you, I've been volunteering for the election. I was tired tonight, and I really did not feel like coming out and standing on the Framingham Common with my 2 young children. And I thought, is anyone even going to be there? And I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure. And I am so inspired by each of you and so heartened by this enormous crowd. So I just want to say, please keep being here, keep standing with me, and I will keep standing with you. We have to just keep the pressure on. Thank you.
And I know she was very busy because she was helping us in the campaign office.
Hi, my name is Jerry. I've been very politically active for a long time, starting in the 60s, and this is great that so many people are out here tonight. It's really encouraging, especially this time when it's dark. And I wanted to encourage, I've been standing over by the road, and people are honking their horn, but we only have about 3 or 4 people over there. And for cars going by, they think, oh, that's nice, there's 3 or 4 people upset about it, because they can't see you guys over here at all. It's totally dark. So I just want to encourage at least a couple of people, not everybody, because I want a big group here, but maybe 10, 15 people to come on over and join us over there so people can see that we're here. Because otherwise, driving by, they can't see. It's people in the dark. Thanks.
You know, that's such a great idea that maybe when we adjourn from here, we could get a huge crowd to go all along the side of the common and wave at the cars. How's that? Because I don't want you to lose this feeling of all being together for the rally, but I also don't want to miss the opportunity to tell everybody driving by that we're here. So let's do that. I'm going to introduce now, and there will be more time for people from the attendees to speak, but I'd like to introduce Cheryl Tully-Stoll from the Framingham City Council, and then she will introduce one other speaker. Cheryl.
Good evening, Framingham. What a turnout. This is phenomenal. And it is for something we all know is excruciatingly important to the future of our country. This isn't about one investigation. This is about the future of all investigations. If we cannot hold people accountable for what we believe went on, we can't move forward with a clean conscience. It's our job as Americans to make sure that our country functions in a democratic way and follows judicial processes and gives every investigation its due course. And I always wonder about individuals who want to stop investigations. What do you have to hide? And this isn't just any investigation. What we're talking about here, the stakes are higher than they've ever been for this country. And if what everyone here, I'm sure, believes happened, did happen, and there was tampering, and people knew about it, and people helped orchestrate it, they need to be punished. Things need to be corrected. People need to go to jail, and we need to take appropriate diplomatic actions with other players in the world who colluded on this. This is not something we can just sit back and let happen to our country. So thank you all for coming out and fighting for the future. And I am so heartened tonight to see how many people are here, which tells me we're going to have a great future despite what's going on in the present. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming out today. I'm Jack Lewis, one of the state reps here in Framingham. And I know Maria Robinson, one of the other reps, wishes she would have been here as well. And I want to bring greetings from our colleagues on Beacon Hill. What we're experiencing day in and day out is just not normal. I don't know if you're like me, but you wake up in the morning, you check the news, and there's something new. The question is, what has our president said this time? And every day, we're reminded of the consequences of elections. And you're here, I see these persist signs, it's great, because we know that we're not going to be able to fix this in a single election, or a single rally, or a single march. But we're going to have to persist, we're going to have to persist, and we're going to have to persist. We're going to have to remind ourselves and our neighbors, as we get accustomed to what's going on in Washington, that it's just not normal. It's not okay to have a president who's racist. It's not okay to have a president that's okay about ripping apart families. It's not okay to have a president who is closing down investigations, is firing his staff, and who doesn't care about the democratic process. We in Massachusetts are not immune to this. We need to keep marching, we need to keep persisting, and I can tell you that we at the legislature here on Beacon Hill will do whatever we need to do to work with you, but we need you to hold us accountable as well. We need you not to grow complacent. We can't let it happen. It happens too often across our country where we get used to things, we expect them, we laugh at them, and before we know it, we are down the road that we cannot turn back from. So please, keep persisting, keep marching, keep rallying. We need you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, Jack. And now we have someone else who wants to speak.
My name is Gabriel Berger, and I brought this flag because this is what's at stake. The Republic itself is at stake, and the fabric of the Republic is at stake. We have these politicians in Washington who want to destroy the middle class. They want to just rip it apart. And we see now Speaker Pelosi, or assumed Speaker Pelosi, saying she wants to be bipartisan with these Republicans. I say hell no. Not a chance. And if you see any of your representatives roll over for these Republican dogs, you give them a piece of your mind.
I think people are getting inspired. We have more speakers coming. And you know, we had all these chants that we were going to do, but I'd much rather hear from all of you. So here's the next speaker.
Thank you, Norma. First, I'd like to thank Norma for being at the forefront of so many wonderful efforts in Framingham and our state. And I'd also like to thank my across-the-street neighbor, Bill Rabkin, for being at the camera tonight to film this rally. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for coming out on a chilly, dark night when we'd rather probably be eating dinner with our loved ones. But the reason I'm here tonight is because, in part, that I am the daughter of a Holocaust survivor. And we have seen this before, and we can't let it happen again. We are now a country that has people in concentration camps. It's not normal. It's not right. We can do better. We need to overthrow this government peacefully, forcefully, as soon as possible and put them where they belong, which is in jail.
Hi, everybody. My name is Wade. I'm a Framingham resident, and I'd like to give everybody here a little personal note of encouragement. I'm going to explain a little bit. Sorry about that.
Just bring the mic up.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm proudly wearing my March for Our Lives shirt, which I got at this year's Worcester rally. I almost didn't make it out there, but I was really glad I did. It was, are you going to go? You all know how it is. You want to do these things, but you wonder if it's worth your time. I really enjoyed when I was there, and that little rally really hit home to me today because I'm originally from Thousand Oaks, California. And in fact, that very restaurant where that happened a long time ago, I worked there as a dishwasher. Sometimes these things just hit you really hard. But I think back about that March for Our Lives rally and all the kids who've been voting, and even though we can all look at Florida and say, what's wrong with you, Florida? You got that close. But those kids had a big impact, and the kids are voting more. And I think all these things that you're doing here, showing up, being part, and encouraging them, and letting them know that it matters to come out and be seen, even if you're just a semi-anonymous person in a crowd, you're part of a bigger crowd, and you're all doing something good. So thank yourselves.
Anyone else? I'll go for a quick PSA here. I just thought of something else you can do that's more of a long-range plan. I don't know if you've heard about the National Popular Vote Compact, but as you know, we have a president that was not elected by the popular vote. And we need just a few more states to vote for this National Popular Vote Compact. And if that's passed in just a couple more states, as long as their electoral votes add up to a majority of the Electoral College, then the Electoral College becomes a formality. And they cast the votes based on the winner of the National Popular Vote. If we had had that in effect in 2016, we wouldn't have this president. So if you know people in states, look it up, it's National Popular Vote. If you know people in states where it has not been passed, as usual, Massachusetts has already passed it. But get your friends, your relatives, people you know in other states to get this thing through, and maybe we'll be all right in 2020. So think about that. Do I have anybody else who wants to speak? Yes, back here.
I'm for peace and love.
That's hard to top. Okay, I think maybe what we'll do, if there isn't anyone else who wants to speak, is we might want to ask all of you to walk over to the road there where those folks are holding fort and waving to the cars and walk around the common. What do you think? Is that okay? All right. I thank you all for coming. Let's have a big Protect Meuller cheer. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Protect Meuller. Thank you.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. When the bird has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. When the bird has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. When the bird has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. When the bird has got to go. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.